is a requisition point.
Good evening. This is Maestro Cretella with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Calderis Refinery. Our first player is Dark Reaper 88, playing as the Inquisitor. Inquisitor is an Imperial Guard melee hero with a lot of debuffing and disabling capabilities. She can also be a tanking melee hero with the correct upgrades. Next up, we've got Zato playing as the Dark Angels Force Commander, this one with the 2 toothbrushes attached to his helmet just in case he wants to brush his teeth on the battlefield. He can tank damage, he can do damage, he can disrupt with Battlecry, knocking units over as well as buff units. Next up, we have Noisy playing as the Orc Warboss. This is a very big tanking melee hero. Starts out with a twin-linked shooter. I was about to say a twin-linked chain axe, that would be pretty good, and a chain axe. He can be very aggressive. He's got some of the best globals in the game with User Choppas and Ard Boys. And very strong hero in many ways, although a little straightforward. Next up, we've got Maestro Cretella playing as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. Right there, shooting some Doom Bolts out. That is a long-range area of effect damage spell. Sorcerer is a magic and spellcasting hero. Aside from damage, he's also got spells for teleporting, control, and manipulation. Next up, we've got FrozenVapor as another Orc Warboss. This one be Captain Bloodflag, the Freebooters Orc Warboss. So yeah, he's another Orc Warboss. And then finally, we have Commissar Vocaloid playing as the Chaos Lord. Right now, he's got his face in the wall. The Chaos Lord is a tanky melee hero in Terminator armor. It does a little bit of range damage and a little bit of melee damage to start out with the Combi Bolter and Power Sword. So, meanwhile, it looks like they're kind of fighting two in the right lane, and it looks like the combination of Zato and Noisy did manage to pretty much overtake Maestro Cretella, myself, and FrozenVapor. FrozenVapor actually nearly losing his Warboss. Maestro... Man, why am I talking about myself in third person now? I wonder why. But anyway, I'm kind of having a bit of trouble dealing with two tanky melee heroes. Tanky melee heroes, one of the biggest weaknesses of the Sorcerer, so a little tough to deal with two of them at once, since right now I've decided to go with the double Heretic build instead of a double Chaos Space Marine build, so I really don't have that much focus fire. Going to be relying a lot on Havoc Suppression as a way of controlling those tanky melee heroes, pretty much. So, setting up under infiltration, got the Havoc, Chaos Space Marines just trying to bash this generator. Early triple cap for the blue team, so they're taking an early lead. Catachan's now out for Dark Reaper. I feel like I'd say this used to be a very typical build for Imperial Guard. These days, I would actually say it's not so typical. I would say it was pretty typical in retail, pretty typical at the start of Elite. When I played Imperial Guard a lot, I actually got this build, like, a lot. The single Sentinel, double Guardsman into the Catachans. Since, I mean, single Sentinel plays used to be very common. I mean, it's still common, although we're seeing a lot more double Sentinel plays, I think, from Imperial Guard players these days because it's so powerful. And then Catachan Devils used to be gotten, especially a lot in retail, because they were kind of, well, they were the utility unit, pretty much. They weren't really great at that, though. They definitely had their limitations. So these days, more often you see Imperial Guard players go for another Sentinel, or a heavy weapon team, or an artillery spotter squad. Anyway, Captain Bloodflag be getting in here, chopping up some scouts, but does not kill a model. Now charging into the shooter boys and knocks them over. And it really is a shame that when you play this particular Warboss, you give up that cool orky cutlass whenever you decide to actually upgrade to either the Power Claw or the Bang Bang Hammer. Chaos Lord right in here used some Immolate, was immolating nothing by the time that I caught him. Oh my god, Chaos Space Marines in a ton of trouble, gonna start getting hit by Force Melee but Catachan Devils getting hit by Doom Bolts from the Sorcerer. Catachan Devils actually only lose one model, not that much, and now we have a Force Commander here with the Storm Shield. This is actually a very nice response to suppression from a Sorcerer, or really just suppression in general, especially against the Sorcerer, I think, since the Sorcerer especially right now with this build that I have, I'm really relying on being able to control with suppression, since my damage is actually pretty limited. So I really relying pretty much on control with suppression. And Zato is going to be very, very resistant to that, since he will, well, he'll literally be immune to suppression as long as the Storm Shield is active. And he'll be very, very resistant to damage, which I won't even have that much of. Meanwhile, this is some support from FrozenVapor. However, he is getting hit from behind by Noisy. Noisy is getting suppressed. Well, Noisy's Warboss is getting suppressed, but he's still charging in. And Blue Team still pretty much overrunning the Red Team with the combination of the Warboss and the Force Commander right in here. Now, Warboss taking over for the Force Commander. And, well, Noisy and Zato really overrunning me, as well as FrozenVapor trying to support as much as he can, but he does not have as many squads as Zato or Noisy, and, well, I'm trying to control Zato and Noisy, but unfortunately it's not working out that well because, well, there's just too much stuff. Zato and Noisy are working together, and Zato does have that Storm Shield to resist. So, we've got Commissar Vocaloid doing a very nice job actually managing to... Well, what are these Catachan Devils doing? Dark Reaper not paying attention. And is he going to lose the Catachan Devils? No, he isn't. But this might be Commissar Vocaloid's opportunity to actually get a decap, and the Inquisitor, it looks like... Oh, the Inquisitor went down and then was pretty much immediately repurchased. Anyway, Commissar Vocaloid, I think, needs to actually start capturing as long as he's going to be here, but actually he's going for a Generator Bash instead. He can definitely get Bash Generators very quickly if he just focuses on them, but he might actually want to start focusing on the counterattack. He should be able to win against the Space Marines if he just shoots them quickly enough. But the Warboss actually knocks over the Chaos Lord. Alright, I think at this point, Commissar Vocaloid has overstayed his welcome. Dark Reaper, meanwhile, lost a squad somewhere. And this kind of distraction, or this distraction, I think, from Commissar Vocaloid, actually allowing Frozen and myself to get back out there. And now it's actually a no-cap, but the Blue Team with a 150-point VP lead, 447 to 272. Red Team starting to get the VPs, almost about to have a double cap. In fact, 2-0. Alright, Havoc set up under infiltration, start suppressing the Storm Boys, but they run out of there. And what we often see, I think, Noisy often, once he starts getting into the range of infiltration, he starts to back out, knowing that the Havocs are going to be there. Noisy himself probably being the best Sorcerer player in the Elite Mod, and by extension Dawn of War 2. We do have some, well, detection. Well, look at these opposing firing arcs from the Havoc, so these Shooter Boys are going to get suppressed. The other Havoc shooting in the other direction. This is quite funny, but now they're both going to get jumped on by the Assault Spacemen, so Havoc's going to have to get out of there. One squad of Havocs now in a bit of trouble, getting hit pretty hard by these Assault Marines, but they do get out of there. Heretics trying to counter-initiate, but the Assault Marines, I think, being buffed again. Where is that Force Commander? He must be somewhere buffing them, because they are... No, they have Ard Boys on them. That is a Warboss Global on the Assault Marines, allowing them to very much resist. And they have the Force Commanders for the Emperor on them, so they bleed a model off of that Havoc. And here we have some fire going down. That must be... Oh, that was probably just... I was going to say it must be Let the Galaxy Burn, but I think it was just the Chaos Lord with the Combi Flamer. Meanwhile, Dark Reaper is only going to Tier 2 just now, and he lost his Sentinel. He lost his Sentinel as well as the Guardian Squad, which he lost earlier. Captain Blood Flag moving back in. Captain Blood Flag makes things explode. Alright, Orcs right here from FrozenVapor. Going to start bashing power. They're going to go for the power, they're ignoring the Guardsmen and just going for the power. Alright, meanwhile, Warboss is going to charge in here from Noisy. Noisy now has a Warboss with the Bang Bang Hammer, so he's going to do a lot more damage. Going to very quickly kill some of those Noise Marine models. We had a kind of a missed... Old Reliable on retreat against the Shooter Boys from the Catachan Devils, but man, somehow the fighting has really shifted down here away from the top. Here goes some stick bombs from Noisy. Stick bombs gonna be a nice counter to pretty much my entire build, since he'll just be throwing those stick bombs onto my infiltrating heretics, onto my stationary havocs. Still infiltrating Sorcerer now with the Robes of Torment. Stick bombs going in again. Wow, what is the cooldown on those stick bombs? Alright, managed to move the Havocs out of there, but that still forces movement on the Havocs, which even just forcing movement on the Havocs really makes them much, much less effective, because that means they aren't really doing much. And right now I would say my build is actually very, very well countered between stick bombers, between Assault Marines, between the Force Commander with the Defend ability. One squad of Havocs is going to... Oh no, this squad of Havocs probably going to go down very, very close, and yes, I lose a squad of Havocs. Assault Marines jump out, so VP is now actually totally evened out by the red team. Captain Blood Flag running away in retreat. Here goes some more stick bombs again on those Havocs. That is really, really making life tough for my Havocs, and I'm really having a lot of trouble. Zato, meanwhile, losing units. He lost the Scout Squad, and the Blood Crusher is in here from Commissar Vocaloid. And this Blood Crusher right now actually not really countered pretty much. So Blood Crusher's going to do pretty nicely. Some Bomber Boys go in on those Shooter Boys, doing a lot of damage. Boys on top of boys. Here is the Chaos Space Marines from Commissar Vocaloid. Double Chaos Space Marines. One has an Aspiring Champion. And this is my squad of Chaos Space Marines with the Mark of Tzeentch upgrade. So VPs, in fact, red team now with the lead in VPs. And part of what I'm going to do right now is I'm deciding on a shift in tactics. I was really trying to go for a lot of the infiltration play with my Sorcerer, as well as trying to really focus on control with the Havocs, especially against the Warboss, since that's something that is really, really kind of necessary against the Warboss. And I was also really trying to focus on really trying to contain Noisy by myself. I'm going to be switching tactics to more mobile play, less worshipping with my heretics, can't really control as much, as well as losing a Havoc, and also fighting more with my teammates instead of trying to control Noisy by myself. So stick bombs now go in, but this time they miss, don't hit anything since I'm running around being a lot more mobile. Vocaloid and FrozenVapor pushing into this power farm, with a Blood Crusher being very, very brazen, going after the Manticore. That it uses that Blood Crusher, that roar, to scare off all of the other units, but this could be... That does also slow it down. Can he finish off the Manticore? It's a pretty close call, and but there's really no source of real damage against the... There's really no real source of damage against the Blood Crusher. It's getting repaired. As long as it uses that roar, it's going to slow itself down when trying to take out the Manticore. So that long chase finally does manage to take out the Manticore, and also means he doesn't have the... At the moment, he does not have the energy to use the charge. But he actually still managed to get out of there alive. So that was actually very, very well played by... Who is this? This is Vocaloid, by Vocaloid. So very, very well played to take out that... Ooh, and he's going to lose the Noise Marines on retreat. One more hit. No, not one more hit. That was an attempt... I thought that was an attempted Hammer of the Witches to finish off the Noise Marines, but actually does not finish them off. Meanwhile, I have actually lost another squad of Heretics. I believe I lost them to some more stick bombs. So meanwhile, some more stick bombs go in, scaring off the Shooter Boys. Weird Boy out for FrozenVapor, and a Dreadnought out for Zato. Also now, some Plasma Cannon Devastators. This Blood Crusher doing pretty well, now level 2, having taken out a Manticore. Needs to get the heck away from the Stormtroopers. Stormtroopers throw their... Do they throw the Melt-A-Bomb? Yes, they do throw the Melt-A-Bomb. A Roar was used. Really need to try to really need force melee on those Stormtroopers right now, because otherwise they will finish off that Blood Crusher. Heretics getting killed to death by everything. Dark Reaper, unfortunately, I think possibly a bit of a weak link in the blue team. VP's now at 198 to 272. And the Freebooters Warboss has actually switched out to a Power Claw, so he has that cool-looking Orky Cutlass, but you know what? That Orky Cutlass, not powerful enough compared to, oh, and here I am actually infiltrating and letting my heretics get killed by some stick bombers. Stick bombers are missing a model, so they will actually not throw as many stick bombs. Meanwhile, Havoc I'm really keeping in the back at the moment. I really don't have much. I'm definitely going to be relying a lot on Vocaloid and FrozenVapor at this point to do a lot of the actual fighting, while I contribute in different ways, like contributing my AV damage. However, my AV damage is going to get cut down by some Assault Marines, but Assault Marines now in a ton of trouble. Assault Marines, I think Zato must have lost track of them. Well, those are gonna get wiped. Yeah, they did not stand the chance. Way overextended, unfortunately, for him. Fortunately for us. Autocannon, Assault Cannon Dreadnought for Zato is going to make his Dreadnought be able to survive a little bit longer, just because ranged Dreadnoughts typically live longer than melee Dreadnoughts. And I would say that's probably even true considering that melee Dreadnoughts now have melee resist. Plasma Cannon Shot goes in, mostly misses since these Orcs are really staying mobile. Very big push by the blue team right now, mostly led by Vocaloid and FrozenVapor, while I come in behind, do the capping, as well as have my Dreadnought open fire on some choice targets. Sorcerer, meanwhile, should use... I was going to say he should be using Robes of Torment. I feel like I could have used Robes of Torment and then kept those Chaos Space Marines in there. Meanwhile, oh my god, Heretics getting exploded by the Plasma Cannon Devastator. And I think now, though, I think the Heretics should be out of range of the Plasma Cannon Devastator, but they start taking shots from Tax. Tax, I think we've got 2 squads of Tax with Sergeants. One has a missile launcher. Zato really trying to keep them in play, in fact. They don't have that much health, but he does have the defendability to help them resist damage while they very slowly regenerate hit points. VP is pretty even now at 198 to 219. Red team actually with the lead in VPs. Force Commander charging in... not Force Commander, Warboss charging in place, I'm guessing just to regenerate his health. Especially since he's about to take a lot of damage, trying to go for the cap. He's not going to get it, taking too much damage from the Blood Crusher. Blood Crusher needs to be very careful. Blood Crusher is definitely a unit you need to be very careful with. Here go some stun bombs. Do not stun the Noise Marines, do stun the Chaos Space Marines, however. So this Plasma Cannon Devastator actually being kept very far in the back, and it has mostly been unanswered at the moment. So that is precisely why I am upgrading to the Sigil of the Rift. I had the Icon of Tzeentch. I guess I was hoping to try to explode some Orc squads, but now the Sigil of the Rift is generally the better, just generally overall the better purchase in that particular war gear slot. Meanwhile, Dark Reaper is in Tier 2. Still, he can upgrade to Tier 3, or he can get out more units. He's not doing that well, to be honest, but I think the Blood Crusher is finally going to go down unless something can be done. Ogrins go down for Dark Reaper. However, the Blood Crusher... Wow, Blood Crusher stays alive because he silenced the Stormtroopers. Meanwhile, Warboss is running around, actually going to go for a decap on the natural... Oh, no! Oh my god, it nearly wiped out another one of my Heretic squads. I had tried to dodge the stick bombs, but then I actually just ended up walking right into them. Sluggers from... Slugger Boys from Frozen are charging ahead, but they need to watch out for the Defrola. Defrola gonna start just driving on top of them. And Defrola is now kind of stuck. Drove into a wall.
Stand with your brothers. No mercy. Weapons check out.
So somehow still a 1-to-1 cap. The VPs have really not gone down much at all in the past, like, 5 minutes or so. Anyway, here are some tank busters to start going after, to start hunting this Dreadnought, to bust this Dreadnought. Meanwhile, Land Raider Phobos is out on the field, stunning all of this stuff. I feel like that's a really nice answer in a lot of ways. Long range, high damage, high burst damage is especially going to be good against the Dreadnought and the Battle Wagon. And there's only really Attack Squad to answer it, pretty much, at the moment. So, and especially if the attacks get tied up by, say, this Blood Crusher, that could work out pretty nicely. Meanwhile, Chaos Predator now out for me, and I heard something about another Chaos Predator, but that was actually talking about the Land Raider Phobos. Meanwhile, the Blood Crusher is, well, did get snared, but nothing to follow it up. And VP's now actually in favor of, well, they actually went back in favor of the blue team. Oh no, stick bombs really denying the cap right here. And if anything's going to have to cap here, I think it should be the Warboss and not the squads. Chaos Predator exposes rear armor to a missile attack squad, but there is a Imperial Abyss as well as, well, something I forgot already. A lot of things going on. There is a rocket run on stuff. Rocket run actually mostly misses, but I think it might finish out the shooter boys. No, it does not.
Sir, we're losing a victory point out there.
Plasma Cannon Devastator charges up again and denies the cap again. So much VP denial from the blue team, denying even our own natural, denying the contested even more. Plasma Cannon Devastator goes in, and Plasma Cannon just keeps keeping that Pain Boy off the point. But Zato, has he forgotten about it? Will he keep it alive? All right, he does keep it alive. Melt the Stormtroopers from Dark Reaper going in. They throw their Melt-A-Bomb, but I don't think there's enough, and a very, very nice answer from Vocaloid, deciding to use the Save the Dirgecaster for that. That is a very nice way to protect from Stormtroopers or any kind of close-range AV unit for the Land Raider Phobos. I personally think the Land Raider Phobos is good. Definitely some people have said that it is not that great and it is not as good as other super units. I personally believe it's a pretty good unit. And I think the Dirgecaster did go a long way to making the Land Raider Phobos a lot better. Crowd control, it allows it to save itself. Anyway, it looks like we are going to have a Terminator call-in, Assault Terminator call-in right here. That is very, very dangerous. And the Sorcerer, alright, there are some, well, need to drive the Predator out of there, but this is actually not so good for these Terminators, having been snared by the Robes of Torment. Meanwhile, down here, we've got more Space Marines as well as Imperial Guard charging in. Man, Dark Reaper really needs more units. Meanwhile, these Terminators are fine, but they did take a lot of damage and they didn't achieve anything. We have that Assault Cannon just unloading. I feel like this Assault Cannon has constantly been unloading some long-range shots going in from that Land Raider Phobos. Here goes a Assault Cannon barrage. Can it wipe out those heretics? Very, very nearly does. But unfortunately, exposing the Dreadnought to the Land Raider Phobos was not a smart idea, since the Dreadnought can do nothing against the Phobos, while the Phobos is doing a ton of damage against the Dreadnought. So Zato loses the Dreadnought, I feel, a little unnecessarily. And we've got some Chaos Terminators out for myself. And Chaos Terminators are going to do a lot of range damage. Chaos Terminators really are great for filling in a lot of gaps in the Chaos composition and army, especially for the Sorcerer, but really all around, I think. So Chaos Terminators, in my opinion, a fantastic unit, and that's another thing I think people disagree with. I think some people say that Chaos Terminators are a little lackluster, at least in their ranged form. Of course, since melee Terminators are actually going to be Lightning Claw Terminators are identical to Lightning Claw Assault Terminators, but the ranged Terminators, they have less health. They have less health, and when they only have Stormbolters, they're actually basically the same as regular Terminators, except with less health. But the autocannon is nice, and I just really think they really fill in the gaps of the Chaos composition very, very well. So I personally think Chaos Terminators are a great unit. Las Cannon Predator taking shots at the Assault Terminators, but needs to keep moving. Meanwhile, we do have a Baneblade from Dark Reaper, but can he get it out on the field in time? Red team now with the lead. And in fact, I don't think they're going to get anything out of there in time. Chaos Lord just gets knocked down by this ever-annoying Plasma Cannon Devastator. Unfortunately, they are not holding the contested victory point at this point. So at this point, I think that's actually... Oh, and Terminators ultimately get wiped, so unfortunately just walked into the trap of the Sorcerer, and you know what? I think that's probably going to be it in favor of the red team, despite the strong start from the blue team. Red team actually managing to take this back. Just really not that. And, well, there's a Baneblade, but they need to follow it up with a cap. And it seems like the Stormtroopers are detected. Demolisher Cannon Shot goes in, but they can't even get anything on the point. However, it is the Warboss managing to go for a decap. Can he finish it, though? He is really, really tanky, so he will actually get the decap. He managed to get the decap, probably going to go down in the process. So the blue team managing to hold on just a little bit longer. But I don't know if they can keep it. And Sorcerer's already recapturing that point. Sorcerer does get knocked down, so he doesn't actually manage to take it. Imperial Abyss right on top of the Catachan Devils, and a lot of things are dying. Catachan Devils, Dark Reaper not even really responding. He might finish off the Land Raider Phobos, but he is also very close to losing his own Baneblade. I think there's just too much other stuff here. Las Cannon Shot going in. And, oh, so Sorcerer tried to recapture the point, but couldn't get it. Now Terminator's on the point. So if they want to stay in, they need to move a unit onto the contested VP, because Terminators are on this point. Rocks went in, I think finished off. Well, I don't know what it finished off. But if anything, that might be the end. Close call. We have some units trying to go for the point, but a Weird Boy just might knock them off the point. It's going to be kind of close. I think if the Weird Boy attacks right in the middle, there are some Dark Flames from myself to try to get these units off the point. They don't get it. And that is it. Alright. Red team take that one. Hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.